Finally, someone taught her a lesson. She's been asking for this for years. My brother Xavier's applause echoed through the banquet hall as our father's fist connected with my jaw, sending me crashing into the dessert table while 68 guests watched in stunned silence. But what neither of them knew was that the FBI director whose son I'd secretly saved from drowning last summer had given me his personal number, and the evidence I'd been gathering about my family's human trafficking ring was about to destroy their entire empire. Blood filled my mouth as Dad grabbed a fistful of my hair, yanking me across the floor toward the exit. My scalp screamed in protest, but I didn't make a sound. I'd learned long ago that screaming only made it worse. Through the haze of pain, I caught glimpses of faces. Colleagues from Xavier's law firm, family friends, my aunt recording everything on her phone with trembling hands. You want to threaten this family? You want to play whistleblower? Dad's voice was a dangerous growl as he dragged me past tables of frozen guests. I'll show you what happens to rats in the Castillo family. Xavier stood by the podium where he'd just been celebrating his promotion to partner, his champagne glass still raised. That's right, Dad. Maybe now she'll learn to keep her mouth shut about family business. Family business. That's what they called trafficking teenage girls through our family's chain of modeling agencies. That's what they called the forged documents, the stolen passports, the girls who disappeared into exclusive contracts, overseas and were never seen again. Dad hauled me through the emergency exit into the alley behind the hotel. The metal door slammed shut, cutting off the shocked murmurs from inside. He released my hair only to slam me against the brick wall. You think you're smart? He pressed his forearm against my throat. Asking questions? Copying files? Did you really think I wouldn't notice you snooping around the office? I spat blood onto his $5,000 suit. The Lambert family noticed when their daughter never came home from her Milan opportunity. His face went white, then purple with rage. He pulled back for another punch, but this time I was ready. I ducked and rolled, coming up with my phone in my hand. Touch me again, I gasped. And this live stream goes wide. 12,000 followers watching right now, Dad. Hi, everyone. This is Miguel Castillo, CEO of Castillo Model Management, currently assaulting his daughter Elena for discovering he traffics minors. He lunged for the phone, but I'd trained for this moment. 3 years of Krav Maga, paid for in cash, taken under an assumed name. I sidestepped and ran, my heels clicking on the wet pavement as I sprinted toward my car. Behind me, I heard the emergency door burst open. Let her go, Xavier called out. She's bluffing. Little Elena doesn't have the spine to cross us. I reached my car and locked myself in, ending the live stream. I hadn't actually been streaming, but the threat worked. My hands shook as I touched my swelling jaw, felt the blood still seeping from where my father's ring had cut my cheek. In the rearview mirror, I saw them standing in the alley, father and son, partners in crimes that would horrify the colleagues they'd left inside. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to a contact saved simply as JH. Director James Harrison answered on the second ring. Elena? It's nearly midnight. It's time, I said simply. They just assaulted me at the Ritz-Carlton. Xavier's promotion party. 68 witnesses, multiple recordings. And sir, I have everything. 3 years of evidence. It's all in the cloud link I'm sending you now. Silence on the line as he processed this. 6 months ago, I'd pulled his 8-year-old son from a riptide at Montauk Beach. I'd been there photographing evidence of one of our models trying to escape, but when I saw the boy struggling, instinct took over. I'd nearly drowned myself getting him to shore. Director Harrison had pressed his card into my hand at the hospital. Anything, he'd said. Anything you ever need. How bad is it? He asked now. 167 girls over the past 5 years. Ages 14 to 19. Mostly runaways, foster kids, immigrants without papers. The lucky ones end up in forced labor. The others? I couldn't finish. Where are you now? Parking lot of the Ritz. They're probably looking for me. Drive to the federal building. I'll have a team waiting. Elena, are you hurt? I touched my jaw again, wincing. Nothing that won't heal. But Director Harrison, when this goes down, it needs to be fast. They have girls in holding locations right now. At least 12 in the warehouse on Pier 47. Understood. Get moving. And Elena, you did the right thing. I drove through the empty streets, checking my mirrors constantly. As I reached the federal building, my phone exploded with messages. Mom, what have you done? Xavier, you're dead to us. Dead. Unknown number. This is Vanessa from Xavier's firm. Is what you said true? About trafficking? My cousin went to a Castillo casting call and never came home. I walked into the federal building to find a full tactical team already assembled. Director Harrison stood at the center, his face grave. Ms. Castillo, he said formally, we need you to tell us everything. For the next 3 hours, I laid out the entire operation. The legitimate modeling agency that served as a front. The scouts who targeted vulnerable girls. The fake contracts promising international careers. The handlers who took their passports for safekeeping. The private jets that flew them to buyers in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, South America. Your father runs this? Agent Martinez asked, studying the organizational chart I'd built. He founded it. Xavier handles the legal side, the contracts that trap the girls, the shell companies that hide the money. My mother manages the training facilities where they break the girls' spirits before transport. And you've been inside this for how long? Born into it, I said bitterly. But I only understood what was happening 3 years ago. When I saw them loading a girl named Cassie into a van. She was crying, begging. They said she was being dramatic about her big break in Paris. But something felt wrong, so I followed up. There was no Paris contract. No modeling job. Cassie Torres ceased to exist the moment she got in that van. Director Harrison studied the evidence I'd compiled. Financial records. Shipping manifests. Photos of girls who'd vanished. Communications between my family and their buyers. This is enough for RICO charges, he said. Conspiracy, trafficking, money laundering, fraud. Your whole family is going down. Good, I said, then winced as talking pulled at my split lip. We need to move tonight, Agent Martinez said. If they know she's turned. They'll run, I confirmed. Dad has a jet on standby at all times. One call, and they're in a non-extradition country. Then we don't give them time to make that call. Director Harrison turned to his team. I want simultaneous raids. The Castillo home, the agency offices, the warehouse, all known holding locations. And pick up everyone at that party. They're all potential witnesses now. As the team mobilized, Harrison pulled me aside. You know what this means, don't you? Witness protection. Your old life, it's over. I thought about my old life. The designer clothes bought with blood money. The family dinners where we discussed logistics of shipping human cargo over dessert. The willful blindness I'd maintained until Cassie's terrified face shattered my delusions. It's been over for a long time, I said. I just hadn't buried it yet. By 4 a.m., the raids were underway. I watched on monitors in the federal building as tactical teams swept into locations across the city. The warehouse on Pier 47 yielded 14 girls, all between 15 and 19, all scheduled for deployment within 48 hours. At the Castillo family home, they found my parents trying to burn documents in the fireplace. Xavier was arrested at his girlfriend's apartment, still in his celebration suit, cocaine scattered across the coffee table. But the best part was the Ritz-Carlton. Agents arrived to find half the promotion parties still there, gossiping about the assault they'd witnessed. My aunt had not only recorded the entire attack, but had convinced others to share their videos too. Your father punching you is all over social media, Agent Martinez informed me. The hashtag Castillo assault is trending. Your brother's law firm has already released a statement distancing themselves. By 6 a.m., it was done. The Castillo empire, built on the suffering of children, had fallen in less than 6 hours. Director Harrison found me in the break room, staring at a cup of coffee I couldn't bring myself to drink. 37 girls recovered from various locations, he said quietly. All alive. You saved them, Elena. I should have acted sooner. You were raised in it, conditioned to see it as normal. The fact that you broke free at all is remarkable. He sat across from me. Your father is asking for you. No. He says he'll give us his overseas contacts in exchange for seeing you. I looked up at that. The overseas contacts were the buyers. The men who purchased these girls for purposes that made my stomach turn. Monitored visit? I asked. Of course. Full security. You don't have to do this. But I did. For Cassie. For the 14 girls in the warehouse. For all the ones I couldn't save. 2 hours later, I sat across from my father in an FBI interview room. His designer suit was replaced with Federal Detention Center orange. The man who'd terrorized me my entire life looked smaller somehow, diminished. You destroyed us, he said without preamble. No, you destroyed yourselves the moment you decided human beings were inventory. It was business. Just business. You never understood. I understood perfectly. I leaned forward, letting him see the bruises he'd left on my face. I understood when I was 7 and you told me that some people matter and some don't. I understood when I was 15 and saw you discipline a girl who tried to run. I understood when I was 20 and realized the modeling contracts were slave contracts. I understood. I just chose to stop accepting it. Your brother had just made partner. Your mother was planning a charity gala. We had a good life. Built on suffering. I stood. Give them the overseas contacts, Dad. It's the only decent thing you've ever done. Maybe it'll knock a few years off your sentence. Elena. My name isn't Elena anymore. It was true. The U.S. Marshals had already started my new identity paperwork. Elena Castillo died in that alley when her father punched her for having a conscience. I walked out and didn't look back. The trials took 2 years. I testified via video link from an undisclosed location, watching as my family's crimes were laid bare for the world to see. 168 victims identified. 89 successfully recovered and repatriated. 15 confirmed dead. The rest, still missing, probably forever. Dad got life without parole. Mom got 40 years. Xavier 35. The modeling agency was dismantled, its assets liquidated to pay restitution to survivors. The night the verdicts came down, Director Harrison called me. It's over, he said. How do you feel? I thought about it. I had a new name, a new city, a job counseling trafficking survivors. I hadn't spoken to anyone from my old life in 2 years. Sometimes I woke up feeling my father's fist connecting with my jaw, my scalp burning where he dragged me. But then I'd remember the girls from the warehouse, the emails from survivors thanking me, the knowledge that the Castillo trafficking ring would never hurt another child. Free, I said finally. I feel free. That night at the Ritz-Carlton, my father had punched me in the face for threatening to expose the family business. He dragged me out by my hair while my brother applauded and 68 people did nothing. One phone call later, I'd brought down an international trafficking ring. My face healed. My hair grew back. My family went to prison. And somewhere out there, 89 girls were living free lives because I'd finally found the courage to make that call. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well. Sometimes it's making sure the people who hurt you can never hurt anyone else again. Even if those people are your own family. Especially then.